the clients in the US market are generally pretty mature at this point, and so I think that they're asking questions around not just education, but the next steps and how they can really prove out how much they're spending in commerce media is working and driving. I think a lot of the questions that they have today are around sort of holistic measurement and the need to stop looking at it in silos, right? So you have sort of usually your retail silos that you're budgeting into and you're measuring against, and you're taking the measurement that those retailers are providing to you. I think a lot of the ask today is how to look at it more holistically across retailers and how to ensure that the money that they're spending is driving incremental sales. So whereas 5-6 years ago, the ask was really around making sure that I was making more money than I was spending. I think now the ask is really around, am I driving incremental purchases with my existing customer base, and am I gaining new consumers to my brand? And so that becomes a little bit tricky to measure around when you're looking at sort of reporting and metrics that are coming specifically from retailer by retailer. So the ask is really for us to sort of implement a way of measuring and a way of looking at all of the data and their sales data holistically to ensure that we're driving incremental purchases and incremental consumers for them.
Yeah, that sounds like a big challenge among all these retail media networks, and I suppose they have different standards and reporting and this and that. I mean, do you find any frustrations that you deal with or any pain points you'd like to see, I don't know, eased maybe?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of pain points, right, in the brands needing to spend a certain amount with the retailers. The retailers generally having a lot of leverage over them as their manufacturers. And so us as an agency, it's our job to make sure that we are looking at it as objectively as possible and making sure that we are providing feedback to the retail partners on how they can provide better metrics and measurement and improve their ad products to make sure that the money that we're stewarding is working more efficiently and working up to the standards that we think that it should be as an agency. And then on the other side, it's our responsibility to make sure that we have tools and tech and data to be able to look at everything holistically, sort of scrub out anything that the retailers might be any kind of measurement that they're doing on their end before it comes to us, and make sure that we're looking at it very apples to apples, which is difficult, but our responsibility to do. And so basically looking at that investment from a neutral perspective, and then being able to give them the feedback as to where what kind of mix that they should be spending in and how they should be moving their investment around to drive whatever their objective is, which is usually driving new customers or frequency of existing customers' purchases is what we're aiming to do.
And how do you think the thinking has changed about the purchase funnel and I suppose the role of retail media in, not only driving transactions at the lower part and getting products into shopping baskets and that kind of thing, but also just, brand awareness and, not necessarily consumer goods, but things that I wouldn't buy in a store, like a car, at least not yet.
Yeah. I mean, traditionally it was really about capturing that intent right at the point of purchase. So when somebody was searching on site, that you made sure that you captured them and pushed them through. I think now with the data that's available, all of the brands are seeing that there's more of an opportunity to drive that awareness, right? And people that maybe aren't ready to convert, but are starting to think about potentially wanting to purchase something in that category or are purchasing their competitive products. And there's a path there for them to be able to move them into their brand instead, or build a basket with their other products. And so I think that as the retail media networks have sort of also developed a lot of other channels and new ad products for them to for brands to invest in, I think that the way of thinking is really that we can sort of collapse that funnel, as we've heard about a lot here this week today, about being able to drive awareness and then also have the shoppability of in upper funnel ads, being able to drive the conversion there as well.
And so oftentimes with retailers, they talk about the vast troves of first-party data that they have of transactions, and if they have loyalty programs, they're able to keep an eye on things and learn a lot about their consumers. What do you think about the data and its strengths or weaknesses?
Yeah, I mean, I think the data is very strong. They have probably more data on how, everyone is browsing and purchasing than anyone. I think that the cost is sometimes prohibitive for people, right? You're paying a premium for that data. And so I think that there are times, especially for non-endemic brands, that they need to be very choiceful about when they're sort of willing to pay that price for some of that retail data, and making sure that it's worth, or that they're getting data and information about that set that they couldn't get somewhere else, to really make sure that it's worth the extra price for that use case that they're using it for.
Well, this has been really informative. Looking ahead, is there anything that you're really excited about or would like to see perhaps, or something that keeps you up at night?
I think what I am most excited about is generally the that everything will become addressable and everything will become shoppable at some point. And so I think that's really when we're going to hit the tipping point of merging what we now call brand media with commerce media. And soon everything will just be media that you're able to shop in. And so everything will become commerce or shoppable in the near future.